Insight, as the name suggests, is an IEEE and NITK talk series where seniors provide valuable insight into their journeys in these 4 years, their experiences, and also their work in respective fields. Today is the first day of the 3-day event where we have speakers as part of our Diode SIG. So, yeah, without any further delay, let's start with our first speaker. We have Karthik Rao. He is a final year EC undergrad and the current chairperson of IEEE and ITK. He has been a summer intern at the Spectrum Lab in IISc. He also was an NVIDIA ASIC intern and has a passion for computer architecture too. So, yeah, we'll hear from him. Karthik, if you're ready.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'm Karthik and I'm a fourth year student in EC, and I'll be talking about my journey in NITK, and I'll be talking about what I did in the past 3 years, what opportunities I got, how I got those opportunities, and a few mistakes I made, which I now, which if I think about it now, I could have maybe done better. So more like I'll just start away. So coming to the first year, I didn't. If I would say that I didn't really do a lot of technical stuff in my first year. I mostly stuck to the coursework, and that was a period where I had just joined NITK and I was making myself comfortable in it, and I mostly did only coursework. I didn't do anything extra. I didn't take up any extra projects or something like that. And I tried to participate in a lot of events which the clubs were conducting. And yeah, since I stuck to coursework, I got a decent CGPA. And the first extra thing I did from a technical point of view was to participate in a competition called IEEE Embedded-a-thon. So this happened in the second semester, and this was an embedded systems hackathon basically. So this introduced me to the world of embedded systems and Arduino and ESP and stuff like that. So this was the time I really felt that there is more beyond the EC curriculum, and there is stuff that they don't teach you in the courses and all. So I started exploring the world of embedded systems after this event, and due to this interest, I also took a couple of SMPs related to embedded systems in the summer break. And yeah, first year, as I said, it was largely uneventful. If you see from a technical point of view, I had lots of fun with friends. I explored the campus, I explored Mangalore, and I had fun generally. It was a fun first year, and I got used to the college. I got used to how events work, how courses work. I got used to my department. So it was basically a period of settling in. And yeah, in the second year, so basically in the beginning of the second year, I participated in the club rec process. And this is a common process. So all the clubs will have their recruitments going on at the same time. And I ultimately joined IEEE NITK Diode. So one of the first things I did after I joined IEEE NITK Diode was to attend an image processing workshop, which was conducted by an IEEE senior. So I found this workshop to be extremely informative and good. I got interested in image processing, and I started exploring that as well. And due to this interest, I took up a related project called car automation using traffic sign recognition. So basically, the aim was to build a bot which could move based on the traffic signs it encounters on its path. So we had a camera mounted on the bot which could see the traffic signs and then move accordingly. So I have a video of this. I'll just play it out. Yeah, so this was the project basically, and yeah, this involved image processing and deep learning and a little bit of embedded systems. So in my second year, I mostly did image processing and deep learning as I was working on this project. I explored that field, and subsequently, I tried to apply for internships after my second year in the same domain. So before that, I had applied for IAS, which is the Indian Academy of Sciences fellowship program. I didn't get selected for that. And since I had an interest in image processing, I started cold mailing professors in the fourth semester. So if you are not familiar with cold mailing, it's basically like sending out your resume with a mail stating that you're interested in working in this field under a professor, and you mail it to the professor directly saying I want to work in this field under you or something like that. And then if the professor finds you technically skilled to be able to work in that field, then he'll accept you and you can intern there. So that is the process in a nutshell. So I started cold mailing professors in the fourth semester, and as I said before, the domain was image processing and deep learning itself. And I targeted a few of the professors in ISC and a few IITs and triple IITs also. One thing I got to know when I went through this process was you have to go through the labs or the professor's work very closely and then only apply. So you can't just make a generic mail and then send it out to every professor you have listed out. So this actually happened to one of my friends. So what he did was he sent the same mail to all the professors saying he's interested in so and so domain. He wanted to work in this domain, so could you please give me an opportunity? He sent it to like 10 or 15 professors at the same time, and even the professor, he didn't even put it in BCC, he just sent it out. So a professor could see that he had sent it out to 14 other professors as well. Obviously he didn't get any opportunity because none of them took him seriously. So what I would suggest is tailor your mails seeking internship to that particular lab or professor. So write separate mails for each professor you're cold mailing. So that you can as I said before, if you go through the professor's work, you can tailor your mails to that particular professor, and that will have a higher chance of you getting an internship opportunity. So I followed a similar process, and I think I sent out around 8 or 10 mails, and I got a response from only one professor. That too after a month or so. So it's a very long process. You have to be patient. So the professor who replied back to me was Chandrasekhar Silamantula, who is the head of Spectrum Lab in ISC, and he gave me an assignment to work on. He gave me a deadline of a week or 10 days, and depending and he one of his students went through my assignment work and found it to be good enough, and I was offered an internship opportunity there in ISC. And yeah, so okay, my second, and then COVID, the pandemic started, and then we had to go back home. And actually, the professor had said that you have to come over at ISC and work there in the lab physically. But yeah, I mean, the pandemic happened, and then all the institutions shut down, so I couldn't go there and work. So he adjusted he adjusted, to be very honest. So he allowed me to work remotely, and yeah, he that was an internship of actually 3 months. And what I realized towards the end of the internship was I didn't actually have an interest in image processing or deep learning. So the project I worked on was COVID-19 diagnosis using CT scans of lungs. So I had to build a convolution neural network to classify whether a patient had COVID-19 or not using the CT scans of the lungs. So I worked on this for around 2.5 to 3 months, but I realized that yeah, I didn't really have an interest in image processing. I had just applied because that was the only work I had done prior to me applying. So, and I also thought that I had an interest in this field due to my friends and seniors working in those fields. So I found that other people working in the image processing. So I also thought I had an interest in image processing and was working on that. But then yeah, this internship proved otherwise, and I had to find another field to work on as I didn't have an interest in this field. So I started exploring other domains. So one thing which happened was in the fourth semester of the EC curriculum, we have a course called 206 microprocessors, and I had found it interesting. So I took up a related course called Computer Architecture. It's by Princeton University and it's available on Coursera. And I found it extremely interesting. I loved it. So I gradually read up like advanced material and related materials on that course, and I read books as well on computer architecture. And yeah, and simultaneously I had to prepare for internship interviews as well. So internship interviews generally take place in the beginning of your third year. So I had to prepare for this in the summer break, and this involved mostly revision of first and second year courses. So yeah, then the recruitment season started, and the one thing which I had decided was I wouldn't be applying for software profiles. I had no interest in software development roles, and I had a firm decision that I don't want to be working on something which I don't like. So I applied only for core electronic companies. uh, the companies which visit NITK are very less, I think five or six, but I applied for these four: Qualcomm, Nvidia, Texas Instruments, and Samsung. And coming to each recruitment procedures, I didn't clear the written round in Qualcomm, and I got an internship offer from Nvidia. I cleared the written test and the interview as well. And then I once you get an internship offer from a company, you're not allowed to sit for subsequent companies. So I couldn't go through the interview process of TI and Samsung. So yeah, the internship season basically ended for me there. And you can I have written the details about the internship interview procedure in Gyan, and I have talked about what all questions were asked, how did I prepare for specific topics, and how the procedure generally was, and stuff like that. So you can go through that and even contact me if you have any doubts regarding this. So third year, yeah. After this, what did I do after getting this internship? So in the third year, so I one thing which I have to point out is I had taken EC honors. So honors is something which will start in your third year, and you will have to do five courses in 4 semesters. So I had taken that in my second year. So just before starting this, I dropped it as I felt I could do another project instead of a course. I didn't like that much. So I found the list of courses that were offered as I didn't like them that much. So I just dropped the whole thing. And our batch was the first batch to have this honors minors thing. And there was some confusion as well, like how will it work out? And there was an air of uncertainty. It was not proper. Even the professors were not sure about how it will work. So I just dropped it. I didn't want to get into something which I don't love and uh, get stuck there. So that was one of the highlights, or like that was one of the most important things I did in third year. And then I participated in a couple of competitions as well. So I am mentioning this because this helped me a lot and helped me grow technically sound. The first competition was called the Swadeshi Microprocessor Challenge. And basically, what you had to do was you have to use a processor which was developed by IIT Madras and come up with an application for it. So this would go in line with the Indian government's Make in India scheme. So they're trying to build products which are not imported. So basically, you are developing a product in India for Indian users. So this was a great learning experience. I got to learn a lot about processor design and hardware design and stuff like that. And yeah, we couldn't go to the semifinals. We didn't get selected for the semifinals, but we had a great learning experience over the course of 2 or 3 months. And this yeah, I feel participating in competitions like this would be a huge plus. And it'll help you in the future in some way or the other. It'll help you in the future. And in the sixth semester, we participated in another competition called the IEEE Signal Processing Cup. And this was the problem statement in this competition was revolved around communications actually. So they had identified a particular method which could be potentially applied in 6G communication. So we had to work on a problem statement based on that. So our team stood 10th globally in this competition. We spent around 3 or 4 months working on this, and yeah, our team was a group of three, and we spent a lot of hours working on this and trying out different things, and we got to learn a lot in this like in this competition through this competition. So try to participate in competitions like this, and there are other competitions as well. So you have E-Yantra by IIT Bombay. I think that is also worth mentioning. So if you're interested in robotics, you can maybe apply for that as well. And there'll be many competitions. And please participate in as many competitions as you can. You'll build your team, like you'll get to know how to work in a team, and you'll learn something extra. So coursework, it won't cover all these things. You won't be doing all this in your courses. So you have to find some extra ways in which you can get knowledge in these areas. So participating in these competitions would help you in this. So another thing which I did in my third year was I applied for a 6-month internship at Team Shakti in IIT Madras. So what Team Shakti actually is they are trying to develop a line of microprocessors which could be used in Indian markets. This will reduce this. This is a one of a kind project, I would say, in the Indian perspective, and this will reduce imported microprocessors, reduce the use of imported microprocessors, and it's an open source microprocessor, so that is another plus as well. It's based on the RISC-V ISA. If you can read more about it by googling what Shakti does actually. You can Google this. And how did I get this opportunity? Well, the team lead basically contacted me and took an interview of around 30 to 35 minutes. They tested me on computer architecture, digital electronics, and my previous experience with RISC-V, my previous projects which I had mentioned on my resume, and uh, stuff like that. So I got an offer after this telephonic interview. And yeah, third year ended, and then in the summer break, I interned with NVIDIA for 2 months with the SOC verification team. And at the end of my internship, I had to present my work to a panel of senior managers. And then, based on my presentation and the work I had done, I got a PPO. You can check more information on the Gyan, Iris Gyan. I have mentioned what is important in the internship and what is given more weightage, whether presentation matters and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm presently working with Team Shakti. I am working on designing branch predictors for the Shakti I class line of processors. They have many different processors. I am working on what they call the I class. So that has been my journey so far in NITK. And before I end this talk, I would like to give some general tips or advice which I didn't follow, and I wish I had followed. So the first thing is try to explore multiple domains before the beginning of your third year. So why is this important? Because you don't want to get into a field and then regret not trying out other fields. So what happens is, if you keep working on one field for the first 2 years, it's fine. I mean, if you like the work, it's fine. But somewhere after that, if you feel that whatever you're working on is getting boring, then it will be harder to make a switch, because you won't know what the other fields actually are, like what work is going on in the other fields. So just try to dip your feet into many fields. Like I've given some examples here: image processing, speech processing, embedded systems, software development, even management. You can consider that as well. So try out different things in your first and second years. You'll have a lot of time in your first and second years, so make use of that. And another thing, as I said before, I didn't really like image processing, but I still went ahead and worked on it in my second year. So don't just follow the crowd blindly. See what you would like to do. See what excites you the most. So I mean, like if you are working, if there will be some sort of peer pressure, but don't get into that. I mean, just explore multiple things, and then you only decide what you feel excites you the most. And another thing which I've often heard people talk about is that CGPA doesn't matter. Even I feel that CGPA doesn't matter that much. It's not a good indicator of how good a person is. But then this actually matters in some cases because the number of applicants applying for a particular role, be it in research internship or industrial internship, is very high. And the folks there need to have some sort of a mechanism where they can quickly skim through all the applicants. So they can't just go through each and every point in a resume and then shortlist people. So they just look at your CGPA and then decide whether you're good enough or not for an interview opportunity. So what happens is if you don't have a good CGPA, they'll just discard you. They won't even like give you an interview opportunity. So your application process will end there itself. So what I would like to suggest is don't neglect it completely. You don't have to have 9.5 plus or 9.6 or 9.7 or something like that, but try to keep it in a respectable range, like 8.5 or 9, because a good CGPA can never hurt, but a bad one can. So try to don't neglect it completely. And then one more thing which I found was the work you do in internships is completely different from the work you do in your courses. So the learning process is itself different. So you'll explore more things when you're working on internships or projects than what you learn from your courses. The range is very very high. So try getting good quality internships, and if you're not able to get those internships, you try to work on projects under a professor. So you can easily like mail a professor and then ask him whether you can work under him on a project he is currently working on, or you can even suggest your own problem statement and then he'll be guiding you. So you can try things like that. And yeah, you learn better by actually doing something. You learn better than just reading books. So coursework, as I said before, is not enough in my opinion. So try doing these quality internships or work on projects. I mean, that is also fine. And then one more thing which I would have liked to done was working towards a backup plan in my third year. So what happened was after I got the internship at NVIDIA in my third year, I neglected like I didn't work towards this backup plan I'm mentioning. So I just studied. I just did work on the internship role which I had got. So why is this important? Well, if I didn't get a PPO after NVIDIA, then I had to sit for placement, right? Then it'll be a very sticky position because your skills will be very limited to that particular area, and if you don't get a job in that area, then you won't get a job elsewhere also. Because say if I worked on software development as a backup and then I didn't get a core electronics job, then I could apply for software development companies as well. So figure out a backup plan if you are interested in core electronics and you don't get core electronics. Just ensure that you have a plan in place. It can either be going for masters, or it can be software development roles, or it can be management related roles. So try to have such a backup plan so that you don't feel out of place in the placement season, and you'll be better prepared to face the placement season in this aspect. So I think this is very important, which I had to do. Fortunately, I got a PPO and everything worked out well. But if I didn't get a PPO, then it would have been very hectic 2 months, or I would have had a lot of pressure to perform well in my placement interview. So I think having some sort of backup is very very essential in your placement season in the fourth year. So that was my journey in a nutshell in NITK. And then yeah, I have covered pretty much everything related to my internship opportunities and how I got them. I didn't specifically mention about projects actually, because um, those were things which I liked and I did, and that differs from person to person. And the projects which I didn't mention were mostly course projects, mini projects, like what they call in our department, mini projects. And that often involved me working in a problem statement which the professor gave. I didn't actually choose what I'll be working on, so I didn't mention that. But and it didn't have that much of an impact also on me, because the things I mentioned here had the most impact on me, and it helped me get the opportunities which I've got. So that's all I had from my side. So if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them, or you can reach out to me later as well.
So for the second speaker, we have Varun. He is a final year Triple E undergrad. He has worked as a digital design intern at Texas Instruments. He's also the EV lead at NITK Racing FSAE. So Varun, if you're there, you can start. Yeah.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Varun. I'm actually right now in fourth year Triple E department. So yeah, I'll share my screen. 5 minutes. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so basically I'm one from fourth year Triple E department. Because I was in Triple E, initially I was very much interested in power electronics. I'll go deep into it, what actually power electronics is and how are the prospects of it. Later on, I got interested in digital because of so in my first year, I joined basically this NITK Racing Club. Actually, a lot of things I learned in hardware was because of this club, NITK Racing. And so in last summer, I got an opportunity to work in Texas Instruments as digital design intern. So basically, how I developed interest in hardware was basically what happened with me in this all 3 years. That actually developed my interest and made me learn a lot of stuff. So first year basically, I had actually thought of buying an electronics kit. I will put the link later on in the chat. I just saw some YouTube videos on like some basic electronic stuff they were doing. So I was interested in that. So I thought of buying one kit, which was all like some 500 rupees. So basically the kit had a breadboard, some one Arduino, capacitor resistors. Then later on, I tried making some electronic circuits out of it, and and some projects out of it. So the good part of it was actually a lot of fun, and I really realized that I actually interested in this electronics work. And also in my first year, I used to participate in all most of the club hardware events like IEEE, IST, ACM, IEEE. These clubs actually, in first year, they hold a lot many hardware events. Like thing is, I never won anything in that, but actually it was a good experience. I got to know a lot of things in that. Um, and second year, so in the ending of the first year, in the event we have this NITK racing recruitment. So there actually, luckily I got selected into that club of electronic. They have a electronic subsystem in that. There I got selected. Then, as part of exclusive clubs, I got into IST, electronics group we call Charge in IST actually. And so basically, there in NITK Racing, my first task was to make a data acquisition system, which is basically collects data from all parts of the vehicle, which later will be used to improve the car performance. So that was actually a good project, which made me to learn PCB designing, some basic embedded system, and some LT-SPICE simulations also tried because of that. Also in IST, I got a project of doing BMS actually. BMS is basically battery management system. I don't want to go into specifics. It's also related somewhat power electronics. The actually these two projects had basically what I learned is a PCB designing, like how actually you should design PCB, how to route wire, like how to make layers in that. So a lot of hardware work I learned based on PCB designing because of these two projects in my second year. So actually, because of these projects, and actually wanted to pursue my career in power electronics. Like by the end of second year, I was having like that in my mind. But what happened is in my third year, actually, in my ending of the second year, I was taking a summer mentorship program. Basically, what summer mentorship program is, a group of every club organize some courses for the juniors, first year juniors. So there was a course called 8-bit computer which we were offering, and I was part of that. So actually, because of that summer mentorship program, I developed interest in digital electronics, and so basically after that I started preparing for semiconductor internships. They're like 4 to 5, like Karthik mentioned: Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, Samsung, Nvidia. So luckily, after getting rejected by 2 companies, I got in Texas Instruments, digital domain. But even then, I continued my love for power electronics. Like I did a solar battery charger project during the third year as part of IST. Like I was interested in both, but the love towards digital electronics was much. Actually, I will tell you the reason later why actually I shifted my domain. So it happens actually. What happens is, as you try out many things, I tried out like PCB designing, embedded systems, and this power electronics. Sometimes it happens that you completely switch to a different domain, like what I did. I never thought I will be switching to digital electronics, but I switched to it, and it came out successfully as I got internship. I don't know if what would happen if I didn't get internship in that, but yeah. So it happens that you switch to a different domain, but it's okay to work on like at least 2 domains. It's okay, but it's better try to focus on at least like only one domain. Like sometimes what happens, like at least by when you reach by third year, in first and second year, try out as many domains as possible, because that is the time where you should experiment, like should experiment all the fields, then come to a conclusion. So luckily in third year, I had only I somehow concentrated more on digital electronics. So now that time I don't have any confusion. So take some time during second and first year and try to decide your domain. Actually, these 2 years are actually the time should take to decide your domain. Then later from third year you can work on that. Yeah. So why actually power electronics I still like, because in analytical racing like basically what actually analytical racing is, basically it's a FSA team in from like it's FSA team representing NITK. So what actually is FSA is Formula Student Team, which has to design a car by the end of the year and has to participate in a competition called Formula Bharat. So before this year, we were making combustion vehicle cars where we had engine to run our vehicle. So right now we shifted to electric vehicle, EV actually. Right now we have a motor and like a bunch of batteries running our car. So the one thing what actually I used to do in this electronic subsystem of analytic racing is like a lot of power electronics work, like especially power converters and motor controller, DC-DC converters. Is all like include a lot of power electronics. So that's why a lot of things I learned like related to this domain. So that's why I had a lot of interest in this domain actually, and actually that's why before this digital electronics, I wanted to take a research internship power electronics domain. I even tried, like in second year, I tried cold mailing many professors, but didn't get a response actually. But it's fine. Luckily, then I shifted my domain digital, and now it's good. And But power electronics actually has a lot of prospects, which I actually learned when I'm in this analytic racing, because I actually deal with a lot of power electronic circuits. So thing what I did not do in my second year is actually did not, like as Karthik said, if you're cold-maining the professor, it's better to first see in like what all projects or what all papers he actually worked on. They, based on that specifically, you have to correlate to the prof, like what you want, what on what project you want to work or something like that. Don't mail them generally. Basically, they don't look at your mails. That's what actually I learned in my second year. So, and also I got like I sent like some 7 to 8 mails only. Then after that, when I did not get any response, I just quitted that and started preparing for the internships and yeah, like that. But thing is, if you want to work in a research domain, you should see that at least you're working some prof of your department, and you should actually make sure that the columns that you're sending to the particular prof of any college, like specifically after researching his papers or his domain, then only it will be a chance that you'll be shortlisted for the research internship. So yeah, so that's why if you're in EEE, try working under any power electronics prof in your second or third year. This will actually help, like to get research internships in this domain somewhere. Like a recommendation from a prof, it will be very helpful. So yeah, if you are interested in power electronics, make sure like you work under some prof. It will be very helpful. Yeah, which I actually did not do in my second year. But as I said, I was interested in power electronics, but why I got in digital is, so actually what happened is in the end of the second year, I watched this Ben Eater 8-bit computer videos. So basically what this guy does is, so he built a 8-bit computer on some breadboards. Actually, I'll show you that. It got stuck. Yeah. So you can see this, right?
Not yet, I guess.
So ever since I uploaded it,
you people can see this, right?
I don't see it actually.
Okay. Fine. Okay. You can see my PPT, na?
No, I think the sharing is off.
Acha. Okay. Wait. I got off. During when I was presenting, it was there, na? When I was presenting the slides.
Yeah. That was.
Okay.
Now
Yeah, you can see the screen, right? No?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can see, right, this guy actually, he built a whole 8-bit computer on his breadboard. So actually it fascinated me a lot. So he had a 144 videos playlist, but thing is to do the, like just seeing the videos, this was not actually good, very fun actually for me. So that's why I wanted to actually try this. But these components are very costly and this is a lot many components. Just getting them, it was not an easy task. So that's what I did. There was a software called Logism. I think so. There was this software called Logism, where you can actually simulate your digital circuits, gates, and all into. Basically, you can use all these gates and build anything out of this and make any digital system from these gates in the software. So actually, I tried to implement that in this in this software. The same thing what he did in YouTube, but actually gave me a lot of satisfaction. So before that, I don't know how a computer works and like what actually happens in a computer, what actually assembler, what actually a compiler, what actually a ROM. So basically, these videos are very basic. Like this will not help you to like basically like get an internship or what, but this actually tells you how actually a basic computer works. So after this, I don't know, like I got my interest in digital electronics. Then thereafter, I started preparing for the semiconductor companies. So I also after this thing, I even conducted one mentorship program for first year juniors. Some of them liked this thing actually, like making from scratch a computer in Logism software. So you can just type Logism in Google, you can get this software, and there are many tutorial videos how to use it. It's actually fun. You can make anything here using digital gates. So this was the thing. Yeah, and yeah. So after that, I started preparing for this internships. So after the summer, in the summer, I started. So you can revisit my GAN and GAN section to know how I prepared. And thing is, you should remember, guys. So if you're preparing for internships, don't forget to refer the GAN section. GAN section and of IRIS and your senior suggestions, okay, who are actually previously got intern. So you should approach the seniors and read this GAN of IRIS, okay. These two things are very important before you start your preparation for internship, because if you did these two things, basically you know what to prepare. You will not be preparing everything like unnecessarily. You know what to prepare. And one more important thing is, if from second year, I guess you are all in first year, right? So in second year, you will be introduced to these courses of digital and analog electronics, basic courses. Make sure you learn them properly. If you learn them properly in second year itself, you don't need to prepare much in your summer because you already have basics. And remember that in these internships, like at least for internships, these Texas Instruments or Qualcomm, Nvidia, these people just want the basics actually. So if you're good with basics, definitely you will definitely get these internships. Only problem is many less core companies are there, but try your best actually. Yeah. After that, one more thing is, if you're in second year, try to do a good project. Like in your club, whatever club you got selected, right? Right. It can be IEEE, ACM, IST, IE, IET, or any non-exclusive club like Robocon and NITK Racing. So try to do a good project in a second year or a mini project of from your course. We actually call it mini project if you're doing under some prof and getting some credits for that. So in the digital domain, especially if you want in the semiconductor companies. So basically, now if you are doing some project in your second year, you can add it in your resume, and it's a big plus actually, because the interviewers might ask these only questions related to your resume for half of the time, and you can actually answer if you did some legitimate work on these projects. So having done a good project, basically a big plus. Try to do if you can actually do in your second year. So that's where so basically I think that you people are actually in online in this online semester, right? You can't actually come to college as well. So like these are some tips for me, like how actually you can spend like learning electronics on your own. But thing is, just as I told earlier, just get this basic electronics kit having all these items, especially a multimeter too, because you should know actually what you're doing. If you have multimeter, that's fine. You understand like what actually you are trying to make, and you can just refer to YouTube or any websites called Instructables, Circuit Digest, where you'll get some cool projects to try it yourself. And for power electronics, there's some softwares called LT-Spice, MATLAB Simulink, which you can try, which actually I tried during my second and third year to simulate these power electronic circuits. Actually, I don't have any pics of that, so I couldn't show. And for digital, for fun, you can try Logism. Like in industry, the people don't use Logism because see, nobody can make millions of gates. Okay, in your microprocessor, you have millions of gates. You can't make in a software, so people don't use these softwares like Logism to simulate these digital circuits in industry. But to have fun, to learn digital electronics from practical perspective, actually you people don't have access to digital electronics lab, right, of an ECA EEE department. So you people can try this Logism software to simulate the circuits, okay. And for PCB design, like if people are very interested in PCB design, there are a lot many good free softwares called ECEDA and KiCad. Actually, I think it's very specifically I'm saying, like I don't need to go to those specifics, but yeah, See, if whatever you want to learn, just you are just have to Google in the internet, you will get everything. But just try the Benny 8-bit computer videos once in lifetime. Actually, it gives a lot of satisfaction once you go through these videos, especially basically you'll understand how a computer works. Just for your, like, if you're interested, just go for it. But what actually I wanted to say is, in this online semester, whatever you want to learn, there's a software for everything available online. You can just try out. Yeah. So overall, what I actually want from my journey, what I actually want to say is, try to join at least one exclusive hardware, non-exclusive hardware club like NITK Racing Electrica, Robocon. To basically what these clubs do is they actually have a competition to participate every year. So they have a strict deadlines. So basically you'll understand how to work as a team for a competition. This is actually the basic outcome I got from NITK Racing. I understood how a team works, what else, so how to basically do something in a deadline. And basically the PCB design and all I learned from this club only. And then try to get into one exclusive club like sorry for spelling exclusive. IE, IST, IEEE, ACM, or IET. So thing about this club is, these clubs are, if you're into any of these clubs, you get some cool seniors whom you can approach whenever you get any problem related to your internships, projects, or any personal problem too. Also, thing is, you can be part of some cool projects which your seniors are working on, which you can actually add up in your resume. Okay. So in your second year, basically you will be working on some of your senior projects. Seniors will be main leads of the projects. You will be actually doing the tasks. So basically you'll be doing some good project and which you can add up in your resume. Later will be helpful for your internship. And if you're not part of a club, like it might, in worst case, it might be that you might end up with no club, but fine, that's also fine. Thing is, try to work under a prof, at least from 4th sem, based on your domain of interest. Like at least you will be working on some project. If you're not even working on some prof now, you'll be never introduced to any practical thing. So if you're not in part of any club, try to work at least under a prof from 4th sem based on domain of interest. Also, if you're in research, actually not much into research domain, like I never tried. Just in second year, tried coal mailing for power electronics domain, and I was not successful in that, so I can't give much tips. But like the tips given by Karthik was very good. So just you can follow them for research domain, how to approach mailing for the props. And one more thing. So as I said earlier, don't forget, like if you're not part of any club, try to work under a prof and try to do some projects under those prof. And main important things, have a backup plan. So thing is, what happened, I did not get a PPO from Texas Instruments. So right now I'm in a lot of pressure to get a job. So thing is, I didn't have, as soon as I got an internship, I didn't actually think of a backup plan. So if you want to be in core only, try for masters or gate. Try to approach the seniors who apply for masters and ask them what all things you have to prepare. Try these things in third year itself. In third year itself, explore this masters domain. Like if you can afford this, like basically it's a very expensive thing. If you can afford, try to prepare for this masters from third year itself. Otherwise, worst case, try to prefer for GATE at least from third year ending, so that you can have good rank. GATE is basically qualifying exam for the MTech MTech course in this IITs and IITs and all other engineering colleges in India, where you can end up in VLS and design MTech course based on your GATE score. So if you want to end up in core, worst case where you don't get a PPO after internship or don't get a full-time role in semiconductor companies, these two are good options. Or if you are interested in software as well, apart from the core, you can start learning the competitive programming, data structures and all from third year itself, so that you will have enough time during your fourth year. If by worst case you don't get any semiconductor companies, this backup plans are very important, because right now I'm suffering because of that. So make sure you have a good backup plan in your third year. Yeah, that's it. Any doubts people are having? Yeah, one more thing, lastly, this also I tried. Wait. So this is a snake game which I tried in this lesson. So using digital electronics, a lot of things you can do. If you want, you can lot of fun things you can do using the software. If you know the basic digital electronics, you can do a lot of things here. Yeah. Fine. And I did not have very high-fi projects, but whatever I did, I learned a lot, at least in NITK Racing and IST. So just try to be a part of clubs if you want to, basically learn practically how actually things work, apart from the coursework. Also, one more thing is concentrate on GPA. At least try to get more than 8. Okay, because many companies, what I saw, they have a cutoff of at least 8, and worst case 8 or 7.5. Try to get a good GPA more than 8. That's more than sufficient. But if you're applying for masters and all, you require very good GPA, at least more than 9. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Like we still have Karthik Rao. You would have had some questions to ask him. So you can ask him now. Now we have Rithwik. He's the final speaker today. He's a final year EC undergrad. He has interned at the LEAP lab in IASC and also at the Smile lab in NITK. He has presented research papers in IEEE EMBC and Interspeech 2021. He has worked in the area of speech recognition and computer vision. So yeah, you can go ahead. That's it.
Right. So I hope I'm audible to everyone. So yeah, I'll be sharing my journey through BTech and why I chose signal processing and what is the scope of signal processing research. The PPT will be brief, so I'll be speaking a lot more than what is there on the screen. Yeah. Firstly, I'd like to talk about how signal processing, where signal processing is and how AI research is happening. So if you are good at signal processing, so this is one field where your skills are transferable to a lot of different domains. Especially in today's world, if you're good in signal processing, your knowledge is transferable to artificial intelligence, communication, and several other allied areas. So in AI, in artificial intelligence, there is a subclass of problems which are the perception problems. So basically, you want to create the eyes and the ears for your AI system. So these basically form the computer vision, natural language processing, and speech recognition part of your system. Now, all processing of your environmental inputs and how to do the mathematics and all the basic underlying structure is all just a modern version of signal processing. So in my personal experience, so when you do signal processing, all you're doing is statistics, probability theory, linear algebra, and you're doing some sort of algorithms, and there is some pure algebra sprinkled here and there in some very advanced areas. So if you like applied mathematics, this is the field for you. This is the place you should go. And if you are also in EC branch, as so my first year experience. So I joined NITK EC because that was the best combination available with my JE rank. I had no clue what EC had. I just knew that okay, maybe there is just chip designing or you just do microelectronics, but I didn't know of all the sub areas and what each sub area was for. So I just studied my first semester. Well, I got a decent CGPA. Second sem, I just had a lot of fun with friends. I took a slight hit to CGPA, but it did end up in a lot of fun. So in hindsight, I would say that if you keep high CGPA in your first year, you'll avoid a lot of troubles that you might face in the coming years. But of course, I didn't do that. So that's another thing. So second year, So my research journey began in a very funny way. I got kicked out of all club interviews. So I was like, okay, I need some medium to do a project. So then after the probability theory class, which was being taught by Professor Deepu in NITK, I I just went and talked to him how undergrads publish papers, how research happens, if there are any vacancies in his lab. Now he asked me to come join in the December after third semester and start working on a problem. So I basically worked on a computer vision problem then. I was assisting an MTech research student. The early part of research was very boring and very mundane. It had to do with simple data processing stuff and simple file loading, how to just create CSV files or how to just run some simple off-the-shelf algorithms you'd find in internet. But then later on, after about 20 days or so in, the stuff got much more interesting, and there was interaction with much more involved problems. So that eventually we achieved really good results, and we could put it in. And I was a second author in my first publication. We published this in Engineering and Medicine and Biology conference in 2020. So this was in my second year. I was just in fourth sem when I got my first publication. So that year's summer was the time when COVID started hitting. So I think March was when COVID hit. I had an internship offer at IIT Bombay that I got through cold mailing. Now this professor I had met in a summer in a speech, audio and music processing workshop that was held in January in our department. So that was a great way to meet profs and understand what the speech processing domain was. So unfortunately that got cancelled. So I came back to Professor Deepu and asked for projects. And he was working on a COVID detection problem now, and he asked me to join in and direct the project. Now this was one project where I was very much a sole contributor. I was assisted by a PhD student. Now we sent this to a conference, and unfortunately it got rejected. So I understood what makes it click, what doesn't make it click. The reason it got rejected was we didn't have enough data set. So nevertheless, we just put it on Archive. Archive is a non-peer review platform where you can put your work. And luckily enough, it's been cited really well. People are reading the work and using that work in their own research projects and research papers. So that is a good metric of the work. The third year, my entire third year, by the time I reached third year, I realized that except signal processing, whether it was VLSI or embedded systems, I did like any other subject a lot. So I decided, okay, I'll just take whatever signal processing electives are being offered. I think this is not a very good strategy, but if you decide that, okay, this is the path for me, it's a wonderful option to take. I applied to various fellowships like USC, University of Southern California's Viterbi program, and Nanyang Technological University's summer research program, and EPFL's program. But then I got rejected because my CGPA was not quite high. It was slightly below 9, and they usually require in the range of 9.45 at least. Now, but all hope is not lost. Of course, I cold mailed a prof in ISC, and I got accepted. I am currently so from May 21, I am working with him, and we are working in an area called accent adaptation for ASR. So basically, we try to make our speech recognition system, so like Alexa, Google, and all, become really robust to Indian accents and even very thick and heavy Indian accent. Now, in the meantime, I also participated in a challenge. So all top conferences host several challenges. So in the same manner, InterSpeech is a conference for speech recognition and speech processing community, where they hosted a challenge on COVID detection. Now, since I already had experience, it was only a 20-25 days work to do, and this time we got real good accuracy, and we could publish the work, and it got accepted, which I'll be presenting tomorrow. So yeah, I am. So basically, if I have to give any tips, I would say that it's, if you know that you like something, or if you feel that you like only one thing in your branch and you don't like the rest of the entire branch, it's all right. You can specialize and you can get really well. The second point I'd like to emphasize is that talk to profs. Profs are really helping and really, and they do love enthusiasm coming from especially first and second year students. They would love to work. Thirdly, I think it's better not to run after stipends a lot if you have to do research in academia, because you're not paid a lot. A lot of work that I'm doing is for free, so to say. But then your currency is the publication that you get, which is very useful for PhD and MS. So I'm open to take any questions that you guys have. So yeah, if there are no questions, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So, bro, you worked under NITK professor.
Yes. I worked under Professor Deepu from NITK. Yeah, I'd like to clarify one thing. Oftentimes we think that there's no good research going on in India, or that our research environment is not that very that good. But the truth is, there are amazing profs coming back from places like the US, like Switzerland, US, and who have done their PhDs abroad, who have great experience. The culture is changing, especially in fields like AI, where we are publishing work from Indian institutes itself. So that is a very valid option to consider.
Okay. Yeah. Then thanks for the speakers for doing this talk today. I hope it helped every junior here.